welcome to Horror Rewind. This is Kelly Florence.
This is Campbell Florence.
And this is Mark Florence.
And today we're talking about Paranormal Activity. Did you know that this movie had a budget of only $15,000 for production? That is like nothing. And then post-production, $215,000, which is like, I guess, editing and distribution and I don't know, publicity. I don't know what goes into post-production budgets, but yeah, this is why people make found footage movies. They are inexpensive to make. $15,000.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
$15,000 to make Paranormal Activity 1.
That's insane. I'm guessing it made more than that.
It made a lot. Okay, so it's 83% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
All right.
And in the box office, it took in $193.4 million. So the return on investment there is
Great.
top notch. It came out in 2009. So Campbell, you were 2 years old.
Yep.
And this is the first time you saw this movie, correct?
I believe so. I've seen some the clips from it,
Yeah.
but this is the first time I've watched the full movie.
We saw it in the theater, I believe, when it
We
came out.
absolutely did. You better believe I was there. And I remember freaking loving it. It scared me so much at the time. And now, rewatching it, I still think it's great. But rewatching it, I was like, oh, this isn't as scary or as fast-paced as maybe some more modern or newer found footage movies are. But I still thought it was great.
I think it was pretty groundbreaking to have that style of movie, probably, with all the security cameras, and so it really didn't seem like a movie. It seemed more like you said, like a found footage type deal. So it was so different. I remember the preview for the movie was they did the thing where they show the audience reaction. The test audience in the theater, where they kind of look weird because it's like a night vision light or whatever. So
that was very smart. That's fun. Something that we noticed in this movie, because I guess it was 2009, and that was right after, a few years after we got married and had Campbell. There's a lot of stuff in our house that is similar to this house in the movie.
Our old house. Or this house?
This house, Dad.
Oh, was it? Oh, sorry.
They have our couch. Okay. They have our old stove, microwave, couch, cabinets.
Lamp. I wrote lamp.
Pull-up bar, butcher block, lamp, and hose.
Yellow. Wait, is it the green hose? Just kidding. And the yellowtail wine.
Oh, they were drinking yellowtail wine?
I think so. They looked the same. I think this movie was actually filmed at our house.
They just took our furniture and put in some
or our style is stuck in 2006. But we did get married in 2005, so
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of the stuff we have is from our wedding stuff. So but that's probably
and the house that we live in now, it was built in 2000, and so that is the era. That's why it's the same cabinets and all of that business.
Yeah.
So we have to talk about the premise. He's got... is he an aspiring filmmaker? Why does he have his nice camera?
They explain in Paranormal Activity 2, what's her name? What? It looks like the female, protagonist. I don't remember her name either.
Katie?
Katie.
Katie and Mika.
Yeah, Katie. Katie's parents have a really nice video camera like that.
Oh, okay. So he was trying to keep up with the Joneses or whatever they say.
Yeah.
They have a break-in, and so then that's when they get all these security cameras.
Well, no, that's the second movie.
Oh boy. See? I'm messing it up. Okay, so why is he shooting all this
because
footage?
She's been having something. Dad, did you take any notes on this? Oh yeah, basically she's had like this demon following her
since childhood.
Since childhood and stuff. And like stuff's been happening. So
he's documenting it.
Yeah, Mika sets up the camera so they can see what's going on.
No, they use a Ouija board in this movie. Kelly, have you ever used one?
I have not. I heard a very scary story about one when I was in first grade, and I've steered clear.
Ooh, what was it?
Well, this is, I mean, it's probably a fake story, but we're also going to be writing about it in a screenplay, so I'll just give you a very abridged version. These girls in my class in first grade supposedly found a Ouija board in an abandoned house, and they threw it in the river to get rid of it, and it appeared in one of their bedrooms at home.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's what they said. So I'm like, oh, I'm definitely never doing that. Campbell, have you?
No.
I used one once when I was probably 7th grade with my buddy in his basement. And whenever you use one of those things, it feels like one of the two people is kind of guiding it a little bit. And it might have been me in this circumstance. I don't know. We were like, what is your name? And it was like, I can't remember what it was. It was something like Rigor or something stupid like that. Nothing ever came of it.
Okay,
so.
well, that's good.
Yeah. Another story this reminds me of is once Vienna had to go to the urgent care late at night. So Kelly brought her, and she was like 1 or 2, and I mistakenly locked the door so Kelly couldn't get back in at 1 in the morning or whatever. So I was sleeping and Kelly was pounding on the window, and I don't know if I was dreaming or what, but I was just like, Kelly. So I guess if there's a loud sound in the night at our house, I just scream for Kelly.
He would not get up and use a baseball bat or a golf club to defend the household. He would just call for me to help. And you know what? That's fair. That's fine.
Or maybe I knew it was you and I was just trying to talk to you.
No, guess what though? I could totally defend this house.
Ooh.
And I will if I have to. I'm not taking
Wow.
it, don't actually come and invade our house, anybody. But
Yeah.
no, I'm all for it.
Okay.
Yeah, so at first in the movie, it's just starting to get off slow. There's thumping, her keys fall on the floor. And as it goes on, it gets...
Yeah, this was one of those movies where you really had to pay close attention to a small detail on the left corner of the screen. That
something's moving.
That door moved a little bit, or you saw somebody's shadow for a split second.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a lot of overly obvious gore. It was a lot of suspense and anticipation.
Well, I have a note here for 2 more stories. This one is about your camp counselor, Hilda.
Oh my God! Hilda. Okay, I went to this camp in 5th grade called Storybook Lodge, and my counselor, Hilda, slept with her eyes open. And the moment we moved into the cabin, these girls are like,
oh God,
just to warn you, this counselor, because we've had her before, she sleeps with her eyes open. And we're like, no. And so on the first night, she fell asleep and she was snoring. And these girls were like, come look. And they shined a flashlight in her face and her eyes were open. And it was terrifying. And she was sleeping with her eyes open. What? I mean, does that happen? Apparently it did, because I witnessed it. And that was pretty creepy. And also, that cabin that we were staying in had a basement, an Evil Dead basement, and nobody ever went down there. And people dared each other to, but none of us ever did. So, I don't know. I
just looked it up really quick, and it says you'd be surprised that some people actually do sleep with their eyes open. About 20% of people do it, including babies. Doctors call it nocturnal lagomorphos or something like that. So
okay, well,
yeah,
I will write about it in one of our upcoming books.
All right.
It's weird though. I mean,
it's
just
weird.
Yeah. Oh, the other story, Dad, is the story about Nancy.
How she sleeps.
Yeah, my mom sleeps kind of like a mummy. So she's alone in her bed, and she's like all tucked in, and she's like, her arms are at her side, like dead straight, and she's just on her back. And I think I needed like an extra blanket for Kelly or something, so I was like, I had to wake my mom up, and I'm like, hey mom, hey mom, and then all of a sudden she goes, and she sat up like a mummy in a horror movie.
So good.
Yeah. Yes, you have to see the visual, but whatever. I also wrote down, these people don't know the true nightmare, though, of having kids come into your room at 3 a.m. So, I mean,
that's true horror.
That is the true horror.
It's like, oh, stuff is moving around at night. Like, guess what? People could be moving around and asking you for things.
They want milk.
Chocolate milk.
I also have here, I think you told me to write this down, #BelieveWomen.
Oh my God. Okay, so this is the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway that I have for this movie on this rewatch in 2021 is that I didn't realize that how big of a jerk Mika was. Like, he was actually not great to his wife because he wasn't believing her experiences or her feelings or dismissing them. And I mean, also people probably have dismissed her and her experiences throughout her life, but he was definitely not supportive. Like, Mark, if I told you that I was experiencing these things or feeling these things and you treated me like that, like, bye-bye. Like, it was not okay.
Like, what? I don't know. Like, why would you just make that up?
I know.
It doesn't make any sense.
And even if we can't comprehend what someone is going through, like, we can't understand it, we can try to empathize or, like, at least not be a douchebag about it. My goodness.
And so I mean, let's say these weird things are happening at our house here. Like, what would we do? What should we do? Move out? I would move out. I don't know.
I just wrote about this for our book that's coming out in October called The Science of Serial Killers, and it relates to the Amityville Horror because this family moved into a house where an actual serial killer killed his entire family. Like, that's super dark, but yeah. So check out that chapter and see what I would do.
Okay. So there's
if you agree what would you
do if there was weird phenomenon going on at this house, Campbell?
Run away?
Literally?
Well, not like actually, but like, hey guys, I think we gotta go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'd have to move. I wrote down editing on Audacity. Were they editing on Audacity?
Oh yeah. And guess what? We're editing on Audacity right now, friends. So yeah, this program's been around at least since then, which is great. We highly recommend it.
I think Mika had multiple. Now most people have multiple computer screens at work, but back in that day they didn't. But Mika had it, so he was way ahead of the curve on that.
Yeah, and I didn't understand the allure until I got my multiple screens at work, which I don't have currently because I'm not going into work. I'm working from home, but I miss it because you can be doing the two things at once or reference one screen and work on the other or drag things from screen to screen. Mark, I'm talking like I'm an old person discovering like Twitter or something, but it's true. Like, how did I live without two screens before?
I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't do my job without two screens.
Wait, did you go to 3 screens at your actual
I had
physical?
3. I have 2 at home.
He had 3
But
screens.
I always find out like the 2 documents I want to view are like on like an email and this are on the same page, so I have to move this one over and then I got to do this spreadsheet. So I spend a lot of time moving between the screens.
The life of a financial analyst. You should start your own podcast.
I don't think anyone would listen to it.
I have here, after night 18, I have Exorcise the Demons.
Oh, yeah. Is that from Ace Ventura? Yeah.
And we ended up, so fun fact, before the end of 2020, we ended up showing Campbell a bunch of our favorite, like, older movies. And Campbell, what would you say? You saw Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura. We haven't watched Ace Ventura 2 yet.
No. Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy. Well, you saw Karate Kid. How would you rank those 4 movies? Like, your favorite to your least favorite? So, again, Dumb and Dumber.
Sidekicks.
Oh,
no. Number 1 would be Karate Kid. Number 2 would be Dumb and Dumber. Number 3 would be... What were they again?
Ace Ventura, Tommy Boy, or Sidekicks.
Ace, Tommy, or Sidekicks.
That would be...
Or you could put them all on the same level.
Everything on the same level, and in last comes Sidekicks.
I would agree with those rankings. Mark, do you agree or disagree with those rankings?
I agree. Well, I think Dumb and Dumber is better than... I think Dumb and Dumber and Ace are better than Karate Kid.
Oh. Guess who's sleeping in the garage tonight? See, it's not even the couch anymore in COVID times. It's the garage.
Oh, wow. It's harsh. It's cold out there. So have these actors, I don't recognize them from anything else, and I'm guessing they haven't done much else. Do you know? Or
I don't know. Do you want to look them up? I guess look it up. You know, at some point, so speaking of Mika, my 7-year-old daughter had a really good point. Vienna, do you want to come and tell them? Okay, she's saying no, but she said, like, this guy's being a jerk. She's like, I'd be like, girl, deal with this demon yourself. And then she gave a peace sign and she was out. And I thought that was great advice because, like, yeah, you can't trust this guy to help you, so deal with it yourself. And you got it, girl. So thank you, Vienna, for that wise wisdom.
she was in Big Little Lies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently.
That's who?
I don't know. Leela LaPlante. She was in another Paranormal Activity. Another Paranormal Activity.
Who was?
Katie.
The actress.
Oh, probably Paranormal Activity 2. She's in that one.
Yeah, her name's Katie Featherston.
Okay.
His actual name is Mika.
Yeah, and her name was Katie too.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Just like that's what they did in Blair Witch Project, which makes it like blurring the lines of reality versus fiction because like that's how Blair Witch promoted that movie. It was like, wait, but that's their real name. So did they really disappear and are they dead? And I remember people being like, well, Heather was in a Steak and Shake commercial. Is she still alive? So yeah, it's brilliant though. Cause it's like, if you use those real names, then people are like, wait, oh my.
He's basically only been in the Paranormal Activity movies.
Okay.
So I wrote, when your exorcist says this is too much, then that you know you're in trouble. So did the exorcist like...
Oh yeah, the exorcist walked in and immediately was like, okay, yeah, this is too much. I gotta go, otherwise it's gonna, like, the spirit's gonna do bad things.
Oh my gosh.
Like, not one step in the door he says this.
Well, and so speaking of Amityville Horror, that's similar. Like when the priest comes over and then the nun, like they can't even handle being in the house. They immediately like start vomiting.
Oof.
It's like, yeah, you should probably not live there if like a priest and a nun can't even enter safely. Like that's a sign. Wait, we need to invite a priest over immediately.
Yeah.
Does any priest volunteer to come to our house just to like test it out?
Yeah. We don't really have anything weird going on.
Hopefully the priest from Fleabag.
Okay. You're wearing a shirt right now.
I am. I'm wearing Andrew Scott as the priest from Fleabag right now as we're recording. So you know where I'm at.
So what happened near the end then?
The end? He got like...
She killed him, right?
Well, yeah, in like the middle-ish, like a bit over the middle, going towards the end, she kind of gets like possessed by the demon, kind of, and she like starts doing something. And what happens on the final night is she goes downstairs, screams, then Mika goes down there to defend her, and then he gets killed. And then they come back up and it's silent. And then his body gets thrown at the camera. And then Katie attacks the camera.
You know, like, there's nothing scarier to me than some unknown entity pulling sheets or blankets off someone while they sleep. Like, gross.
Yes.
And also someone getting dragged forcefully away and you can't see by whom or what. Like, that stuff is terrifying, and it will always get me in any horror movie. Like, I freaking love that stuff. It's so gross.
Yeah, that's the kind of like horror they were going for in this, and it really worked. Like, I can't believe it was only $15,000. Like, was that in this one or the second one where they had all the like pots and pans were hanging off to the?
That was the second one.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can't.
Let's talk about the second one because
let's do it. Well, okay, we're gonna move on to Paranormal Activity 2. Should we rank the first one though first?
Yeah, let's rank the first one and then we'll talk a bit about Paranormal Activity 2.
Okay, so on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being you hated it, 10 being it's a perfect movie, what's our scale for Paranormal Activity?
How about
video camera?
Oh yeah, it could be video cameras.
Let's do it.
All right.
How many do you give Paranormal Activity?
I give it 9.
I'm gonna give it a 9 as well. It was super groundbreaking for the time. The style was way different, and yeah, especially the first time I saw it in the theater, like just the anticipation and not knowing what's gonna happen was the scariest part, I thought.
I'm giving it an 8 and a little bit lower because I feel like, I mean, maybe it wasn't as slow as like I'm thinking it was now, as I'm looking back on it, but Mika was a freaking douchebag, so and maybe that's the point.
Yeah.
But I did not realize it the first few times I watched it. So anyway, I'm giving it an 8. All right, Paranormal Activity 2.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing at first, but eventually we realized that this is a prequel to Paranormal Activity 1, because
Mika's alive.
Yeah, Mika's alive. At first, we think that she's lying because she said Mika can't come over. And it's like, oh, but Mika's dead. But it's actually like a month before. Yeah.
So then my question was, why do Mika and Katie look older in the prequel?
Oh, you're like Johnny Lawrence. You're a lovable dum-dum.
No, they looked older.
Mark.
I'm just being a whatever.
Yeah, so similar to the first movie... yeah, like you were saying earlier, there's a break-in, but nothing was taken. Like, they're going around, like, all the jewelry and stuff is still there. So it's weird. So then they get these security cameras installed. And then, similar to the first movie, it starts off...
But wait, who are we following in this movie?
We're following...
Her sister?
Her sister.
And they have a baby,
family,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a baby. They have Hunter. Yeah, so it gets off slowly. First, it's just like, first, like, just the pool light goes out, like, explainable things. And then, as it goes on...
Oh, then it gets weird because all of a sudden, like, the pool cleaner is out every morning. And it's like, oh, it can be explained, like, because we see it in the video, like, levitating, but they're like... No, it's just that, it like forces itself out or whatever. But that's definitely not the same. And it's so creepy. Yeah. And also, I remember when I saw this preview, I was like, oh no, they're involving a child. Like, the ante is upped for me because if we saw something creepy happening on like a, what do you call those? A baby monitor?
Oh, the baby monitor, yeah.
Like, Lord, help me.
Oof.
Yeah.
But to me, this movie had a lot more. It was a lot maybe slower than the first one.
Yeah.
And there's just a ton of build up and anticipation. For like a little, I don't know, a lot of stuff in the baby's room.
Yeah.
This movie came out only a year later, so they really got it out quick. But it's only 58% on Rotten Tomatoes. Guess what their budget was?
What?
$3 million compared to
what?
Compared to 15,000, it ended up making 177.5 million at the box office. So it actually made less.
But still, that's still good.
It's good, but it's
but
ironic, right?
Good investment for that one. Yeah. So it gets off slow. Some stuff starts happening. Then eventually, like the boyfriend comes over with the Ouija board, and then more stuff starts happening. The sister eventually gets locked out of the house, and stuff starts happening, like, with that.
Wasn't this one where there was the babysitter? Or the
Oh, yeah, there was the babysitter. Yeah.
And The baby is that what you're talking about? The babysitter got locked out of the house.
Got locked out of the house. The sister,
the
babysitting.
older sister.
Yeah. The older sister got locked out of the house. Oh yeah, there was that really cool scene where, like, I think the mom was like sitting in the kitchen, and then all the cabinets and stuff just. Like,
oh my god!
Yeah, that was awesome.
And like stuff started falling.
That probably cost $1 million out of the $3 million.
You know, so here's the thing. I mean, and this is, I could probably look this up, but I'm just going to ask it out into the universe. You know, when this sequel happens to this major blockbuster movie, I mean, don't you think that part of the upping of the budget is they have to pay actors more now because it's such a...
They had a bigger cast.
That's true. But also, like, they probably just had to pay people more.
Yeah, they probably just had to pay people more. And I think the production value was a little bit to a lot higher than the first one.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
It didn't have that. The first one just had this, like, I don't know, charm or, like, originality that the second one. The second one was so similar to the first one, I thought.
Yeah. It's basically the same thing, but with more cameras.
But I thought it was kind of cool to see. It's like a prequel, so you know what's gonna happen to Mika and Katie.
Yeah.
But so it's kind of weird to see him. He's like, "Oh yeah, I just got this new camera," and Mika did.
Yeah. And I wrote down in here eventually, like when Mika's over. He says, well, I gotta get a camera like that.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. That he really wanted to get a camera because of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember if they consulted a medium or if it was just The Exorcist, but and I've never spoken to a medium, but I know people who have. And Mark, he has this sense of humor, and I can't do it. It's like the Tom Green sense of humor, where like. You can laugh at, like, and it's like Borat. It's like, you can laugh at people, like, not being in on the joke. Like, I find that super uncomfortable. Some of it, like, I have to walk away from it. But I remember your favorite radio show interviewed a medium, and they were kind of making fun of him, and he wasn't in on the joke.
Oh, well, I mean...
Oh, no.
They don't... It's the Power Trip Morning Show on KFAN 100.3.
But it's like super popular.
On your iHeartRadio app.
But it's super popular, right?
It's very popular, but yeah, the one guy has it in for mediums and people like that because they just feel like they're con artists. So they interviewed him, and he's like, what's my name? And he's like, well, you got to tell me. He's like, well, if you're... Like, he's just being a D word like that, but... He ended up leaving the show, the medium Chip Coffee, and like complaining and asking that the guy be fired.
Wow. Did he get fired?
No.
I didn't think so.
And then they did another one where they had a medium call in a couple years later, and they're like, yeah, our this is all made up. And they're like, yeah, our friend AJ died in a KFAN van, and the guy's like... It's like, I can feel his presence there with you all right now. Was he a jokester? Did he like to play jokes? And they're like, and he really isn't at all. And they're like, yeah, old AJ. And he's like, well, whenever the equipment goes out weird, that's probably just AJ like saying hi.
Oh no, that's so mean. See, I don't think that's funny. I think it's mean.
I know. And then the other guy asked if he'd ever have children. And he already had children, and the guy said yes. Or I can't remember what. Or maybe he said no, like maybe you should adopt or something.
Oh my god.
So I'm not debunking mediums, because you got to give them the...
benefit of the doubt?
Well, I guess you got to give them good information to go off of, but I don't personally believe, but that's my Chip Coffee story.
Oh boy. Okay, so here's the thing though, like, I'm open to believe a lot of stuff. But I need to see proof, And that's the fun thing about researching our books. So, guess what? We announced our newest book. We signed on for our 5th book called The Science of Witchcraft. And we're going to be exploring the history of witchcraft and witches' portrayal in TV shows, movies, literature, and even theater in this one, which is amazing because that's my background.
Nice.
And I just think it's fascinating to learn about the real science behind these things. So it's not all you know.
I didn't see anything.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, some things are proven, so let's go.
It's back to Paranormal Activity 2.
Yeah, sorry for the interjection there.
I thought it was interesting that at the end of the movie, the spirit gets into Katie, and then she goes home to kill Mika. That's what happens, right?
Yeah, they pass it on to her, and then they show footage from the first movie of like when like the opening scene when she pulls into the driveway.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
like
her
she's coming, like they show the scene, like she's like bye, and then she gets in her car, and then they cut to like the start of the first movie.
The very first movie.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't that she was immediately
Not
going to kill him.
immediately.
Yeah.
Not immediately. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then it's a day after the first movie ended. The first movie ended, I don't remember what day, but it's a day after. Katie comes there. She kills the mom and the dad. Her sister has already gone missing, I think.
Oof.
And she kidnaps the baby. And the older sister was on a field trip, so she didn't die.
Man.
Yeah, so then, I don't know.
Grizzly. On that note.
It's very dark.
Yeah.
Let's rank this movie on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being you hated it, 10 being it's a perfect movie. I think our scale should be those pots and pans, because like that was very ooh.
Yeah.
How many pots and pans do you give Paranormal Activity 2?
I'm gonna give it 7.
I'm going to give it 6. A little slow moving for me. A little bit too subtle on the anticipation stuff. Not a lot happened till the end. So I'm just going to give it a 6.
I'm going to go in between 6.5. I don't know what a half a pan is. You know what? It's a mini pot. I don't know. I don't know, friends. But we're going to watch the other Paranormal Activity movies. I've seen all of them. I don't know if both of you have, but we're about to. We'll see what happens. And until next time, we'll see you in the horror section.
See you in the horror section.
Bye.